Hey everybody, it's Michael from Replica Airguns with another tabletop video review. Today we're looking at a paintball pistol. This is the Umarex T4E S&W M&P9 M2.0. Again, it's a paintball pistol in .43 caliber. Going to be a lot of similarities to the Walther PPQ paintball pistol that I've reviewed earlier. I will be comparing the two briefly. Now this paintball gun is available in both our Canada and US online Replica airgun stores in both the all black that I'm going to be showing you today, and we also have a blue slide version, literally identical but just the blue slide. And you can find those over at replicaairguns.ca for Canada and replicaairguns.us for the US. All right, let's get right into the specifications. This is a .43 caliber paintball pistol, and it also shoots .43 caliber rubber balls. Uses standard 12 gram CO2 cartridges, like this guy here. It is a semi-auto with blowback action. That's right, blowback action. It has a metal and polymer design, so the metal slide, polymer frame, lots of metal in the magazine and internal parts, of course. It has an 8-round dropout full-size metal magazine that holds both the paintball rounds and the CO2. It weighs in at 763 grams, which is 1.68 pounds, almost 1.7 pounds. Shoots in kind of a double action only style, and I'll get more into that when I show you around. It has a claimed FPS of 290. It's also fully Smith & Wesson licensed via Umarex. You're going to find adjustable yellow dot sights, at least adjustable for windage, so side to side, not elevation. And it also has a Picatinny tactical rail, which allows for accessory attachments like lasers, tack lights, stuff like that. It also comes with interchangeable back straps for different hand sizes. And again, it comes in both the all black, which we have here today, and the blue slide version. Now, if you haven't already noticed, it's a very accurate looking Smith & Wesson M&P9 M2.0 replica, pretty much indistinguishable from the real steel version until you pick it up, start looking around real close. Now, this gun is distributed by Umarex, but it's manufactured by T4E, which stands for Training for Engagement. Now, this paintball gun is designed primarily as a law enforcement and military training tool to recreate a safe training gun with as much precision and realism as possible. Of course, some people are going to use it on the paintball field. May not be ideal for that, but pretty cool looking paintball pistol for sure as a sidearm. It does come in this nice hard shell case. We're just going to move this aside here and show you. So of course you get your manual. Let's just show it real quick. Okay, all right, not too much going on here. Some parts description here. You have the trigger, it shows you the trigger safety, which actually works, how to load magazines, unload magazines, load rounds, things like that. Okay, and you might hear a siren in the background. That just happens sometimes. We'll just carry on. It'll be gone soon. The real world interferes with these videos sometimes. Okay, shows you where to load them. I'll kind of show you all that stuff too. Doesn't show you how to put the back straps on and off, but I figured it out, and I'll kind of explain how that works. You can also see here, you can adjust the sight, the rear sight. It is adjustable, so that's kind of nice. All right. We also get the back straps. Okay, and I'll show you, well, I'm going to show you right now. So in order to put the back strap on, you have to push this all the way down until it's pretty much right bottomed out, and then pop it in. So you got to kind of put it in, and then while your finger's going down the mag well, you push that in and it pops right in. Okay, pretty tight. This little spring doohickey here also helps to pop the actual magazine out. So when you release the magazine release, it gives the mag a little bit of an ejection. Not a crazy amount, it's not going to fly out of there, but it does help it get going, so you can grab it a little bit easier. You also get an Allen key, another spring. Now this black spring is for rubber balls because it's a little bit firmer. So if you're going to be shooting rubber ball, doing more indoor rubber ball shooting at targets and things, you don't want a big paint mess, then you'll use this spring. There is a gray spring installed in the magazine that's a bit lighter, so you're not going to break the paint balls as easily. So for rubber balls, they're probably a little grippier. Rubber just has that texture that's going to need maybe a firmer spring just so that everything works a little better. With paintballs, they're usually a little smoother. They're a little more slippery, right? They just have that sort of plastic outside instead of that rubber outside. And I'll show you the difference in a sec here. Also got this cleaning tool as well. And as you can see, this hard shell case is quite nice. It even has a little locking area here, so you can lock it up. Let's show you those rubber balls versus the paintballs. Whoop, don't want to make a mess on my table, but let's just kind of show you the difference real quick here. Okay, so not hard to figure out which is which. These are the rubber balls. These are the paintballs. The rubber balls are going to be just slightly heavier. I don't know exactly how heavy they are, but they are a little bit heavier, so they might go a little bit slower than the paintballs. But they're going to hit a little bit harder. They're not going to make as much of a mess if you're doing just indoor target shooting. You don't want to make a big mess. If you're shooting outside, probably just use the paintballs. I imagine the rubber balls may fly a little straighter at longer ranges. Since the paintballs are lighter, they're probably going to deviate a little bit more at longer ranges. All right, let's compare to the PPQ. They're really very similar guns. I mean, they're same type of mags. Let's take a quick look here. Okay, everything's very similar. They both actually have Allen key ports here for basically tightening the CO2 so you don't have these big tabs that stick out on them, right? So that's nice. They both load from the top, right? And you got a magazine follower that you can lock down there and just load the rounds in the top. And then it just comes up, locks the slide back on the last shot. Obviously the CO2 goes in the back, okay? And I will show you, but the barrel actually comes down and into here just a little bit. And it's kind of like C-shaped. So this little top piece, it doesn't actually, there's a missing piece on this little inner barrel, and it just comes down and it sort of seals it off and picks up a round, makes it a little bit easier for the gun to shoot. Probably just helps that BB get out of there a little bit easier so it's not binding to the other rounds. And no CO2 is going down into this magazine opening here, and we're not wasting as much CO2. Okay, so very similar guns. Like this is the PPQ. Watch that video review when you get a chance. Let's lock it back here. They have that half blowback action, so it's not full. Slide locks back half, right? There's actually CO2 in here. It's not going to cycle properly, but, right? Don't know if you saw that. It's pretty quick. This is the PPQ. It's pretty nice. I mean, they're really very similar, other than that PPQ does not have a removable back strap, so you can't interchange it. So you just have to go with whatever the grip size is, unless you put some sort of a grip. You know, you can put that rubberized grip. I guess there's sort of a little sheet that goes over top, give you a little bit more grip if you want a bigger grip. They both have the yellow dot sights. They're both adjustable, right? Pretty nice guns. All right, let's get into the walk around for the Umarex T4E Smith & Wesson M&P9 M2.0 .43 caliber paintball pistol. That's a mouthful. I haven't shot it, so I can't really talk too much about performance. It's probably going to be a lot like the PPQ, so watch the PPQ field test shooting video. I imagine they're going to shoot very similar FPS with rubber ball, similar accuracy, but we won't know till we try it out, right? This is a newer version. Maybe there's some slight improvements. So let's take a look here. Okay, so let's get in nice and tight. I don't have the magazine in, but that's okay. We'll just show you around here. So you do have a takedown lever. Now, I don't know if it actually works. I haven't, there's no instructions on how to field strip it. I don't think it does, because you can see here the slide doesn't even come back all the way. So I can't get to the takedown lever area here. So there's probably a different way, maybe pins that you'd have to remove to field strip it. The slide does lock back, okay, right? Now I did want to show you, well, let's just show you around first here. This gun is really like a 1-to-1 scale. It's got all the markings on it. It really looks the part, right? You got your Picatinny rail there. You do have an actual working trigger safety. So if I pull it from the top here, it's not going to work. You got to actually engage the trigger safety. Again, magazine release. See how it pops it out there? Like I'm not letting gravity do it. It's actually using that little bit of a spring mechanism in there to eject it out. Okay, you got the nice grips. All right. Again, slide catch release, Smith & Wesson markings. Yellow dot sight front and back. Okay, it is adjustable with this little screw here. You even have the 9mm markings. Now what I want to show you, I can't show you with the magazine in, but with it out, I can show you how this inner barrel comes back when I pull the trigger. And you can see the top is kind of cut out. It's like a C shape because that sort of just goes up into the top of the mag, and that bottom section just seals off the magazine from the CO2, allowing probably for the actual paintball to go into the barrel a little bit easier and to not lose CO2 and have it going down that big opening in the magazine, right? You'd lose a lot into the magazine for sure. So we have more Smith & Wesson, right? markings on there. We have some warning instructions and things. I believe that's what that is. Hard to see. Yeah, warning instructions. Okay. M&P. Really nice looking gun. There's some more warning instructions, but not in a terrible spot. You can see right down through the mag well. Right. And magazine wasn't in, so it wouldn't shoot. So it's got a trigger locking. And it's locking back there too. Oh, something's not right in here. Look at that. That's interesting. That wasn't, for some reason, that didn't quite, this went forward, wasn't allowing me to actually put the magazine in all the way. And the gun just wasn't working right. It wasn't, the trigger wasn't working properly, so the magazine isn't in there properly. It's not going to work properly. So that's good. Good to know. Okay. Let's get into some of the pros and the cons. The Smith & Wesson M&P9 M2E, it really has a nice weight. It's a really solid feeling gun. It has that full metal slide that locks back on the last shot. And again, that all metal, heavy, full size dropout magazine that adds some additional weight to the gun. It's a very accurate Smith & Wesson M&P9 M2.0 replica, almost indistinguishable from the real steel version. Again, until you start getting, your hands on it and looking really close. But if you look at it here on the table, can't even see the Allen key. The barrel opening's big. I mean, it's got all the markings in the right place except for the T4E there. Other than that, it's pretty hard to tell. Now, everything again works pretty much like the real steel gun, so it's a great training tool other than being able to field strip it. You also have those adjustable yellow dot sights for windage, along with the working trigger safety. The fit and finish is excellent on these guns, and I like that the magazine spring release gets that magazine coming out with a little bit of oomph, so you're not having to just use gravity to get it out. And it's kind of neat, when we have those BB guns, you always have that sort of recessed barrel thing. Well, there's no recessed barrel going on here. That's a true large caliber barrel. Actually a little bit bigger than a 9mm, closer to a 45 actually, because it's a .43 caliber. All right, some cons. The trigger is a bit long as it shoots like a double action trigger versus a single action trigger. This is probably because that inner barrel has to travel backwards into the magazine before firing. So that is going to take up some trigger pull and add a little bit of resistance, I'm sure, especially when there's rounds in it. Now the magazine only holds 8 rounds, so that's not going to be as realistic as the real steel version. It's probably going to hold, a good 13 or 14 rounds. I can't remember offhand, but most of these double stack 9mm pistols, they're pretty high capacity these days. So 8 rounds is going to be closer to half the rounds. Going to need additional magazines. You're going to be doing a lot of magazine swapping, but that's also not a bad thing for tactical training. Should help you improve your magazine reloading. And again, that blowback action is not full blowback. The slide doesn't go back all the way. I'd call it more like a 3/4 range versus full blowback. All right, if you're interested in buying one of these pistols and you live in Canada or the US, we do have them available in our Canada and US online Replica Airgun stores over at replicaairguns.ca and replicaairguns.us. I will put links in the description of this video. I'm not going to talk a lot about price because the price changes. They will be higher priced in Canada, a little harder to get here in Canada than the US, a little cheaper in the US. At the time of this video, we're talking a couple $100 US versus maybe $350 Canadian. It's just the way it is, Canadian prices. We have the different value of our Canadian dollar over the US dollar, plus we have to get them from the US and bring them into Canada, so there's a little bit more finagling to get them in our Canada store. Now, if you're interested in other products, air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, blank guns, pellet guns, and other accessories, of course, paintball guns, then check out our Canada and US online stores, again, over at replicaairguns.ca and replicaairguns.us. Also, check out my written post for the Umarex T4E Smith & Wesson M&P9 M2.0 .43 caliber paintball pistol over at replicaairguns.com. Find my full write-up there with additional photos. Stay posted for the full field test shooting video, which I hope to have up maybe next week for you guys. Really want to get to this one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, take care.